Let's go, baby.
Engage.
Rock and roll.
Ayatollah.
Welcome back to the 101, the small business and entrepreneurial show in Columbus. I'm Michael Morris. With me today, and only with me today, is Madison Gillespie from Lincoln Wallace. Madison,
What a treat.
Yeah, we're going
so
Juan on Juan today.
Juan on Juan.
Rachel is going to be on, but she's having a stroke or something. So
she's on a roof up with Andrew, I think.
Yeah. Well, we hear that Andrew might be on vacation.
Good for
but
him.
We're going to keep bringing him up because one day he will come in again.
Yeah.
Yes, that horse will ride. Okay? So, Andrew, wherever you are, it's about to rain, so get off the roof. Go on your vacation. How are you doing this week before we get started? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I always like to check in.
Minus the Ohio weather, which is...
I don't know what you mean. You've been here long
well, you
enough
live in
to
a
know.
basement,
Yeah.
so that makes sense.
Oh, I do read the weather report, and every 5 minutes it changes, so I don't know why you're complaining.
I know, I missed golf last night because of it.
You did say that you've been golfing a lot in the rain.
Yeah, I have. I prefer the rain, actually.
Are you better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because you're by yourself.
Yep. Yeah, nobody's out there with me. It's great.
I thought that I would get to... So we have something exciting. I got my first email that I think has to do with this show.
First email ever?
No. I mean, this is to do with this show, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So this is kind of a big announcement. I might be done with the show after this, but I thought I'd read it because it applies. Hello, I have a proposition of mutual benefits regarding joining the Illuminati Brotherhood. We give riches and fame in all works of life. We rule the world at large. If you're ready to join the great Illuminati, kindly inbox me, reply yes. And he gave his phone number.
And you called him?
I'm going to after the show. I just want to, I'm looking through stuff for this show.
That's a sales lead.
I'm looking through this thing, and here it is. So I might not do the show after this.
And you waited all that time to talk about it now?
It was for the show.
That's amazing.
I mean, it's a legit show email. So if I get in, we'll put a good word in.
I was going to say, yeah, we can do work together with them.
Yeah, so shout out to the Illuminati. And then
we appreciate you listening.
Yeah, we should get into this week's topic, which is the 7 ways small businesses can compete with big business. And both of us know both sides of it, right? Mm-hmm. We know working and marketing with small businesses, and then we also know building them. So give a little bit of background if somebody has not heard the show before, Madison, what you guys do, because you're dealing with small to medium-sized businesses right off the bat.
Yeah, when Lincoln Wallace was formed, we did it off the premise that a lot of small business owners have multiple vendors that they work with on multiple platforms, whether that be accounting, IT, payroll, marketing, and I think sometimes business owners get so caught up in what they're doing that they have different people that are doing things for them, but they're not really sure. It gets a little messy when you have a lot of people involved. And I saw that on the back end with clients that I was working at.
We just had somebody on a week or two ago that was having that issue. I mean, it was a perfect example.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Where one person's they're not trying to wear all the hats, they're trying to hire enough hats to cover things. Right. It's not always necessarily the best way to do it.
Yeah, and getting all the hats to talk to each other can be difficult.
Right.
And I think most business owners can relate to that.
But one of the things that I think was important when we had Dr. Ping on, and we've had some other people, we had the Summer of Todd, which is still going to be one of of my favorite shows. A guy that's
we gotta get a
just now getting, just for us though.
Yeah,
right. If you want. They are so worried about somebody bigger, and it's always about how much money they have or how much influence they have. That's not where they need to worry about, and that's why these 7 principles I thought were important. But one of the things I thought was important in a discussion we had was you were talking about how one of your biggest customers takes up so much of your time, right? So you're technically also a small business. Mm-hmm. If they're taking up 40 to 50% of your time, all your other clients, you have to fit them in too, right?
Right.
What's the challenge for you growing your business knowing you've got to find that way to keep everybody even?
Yeah, I mean, I think a portion of it is trial and error in some aspects. Like, in our business, we're coming into multiple different types of business. One could be roofing, one could be, I'm trying to think of some of my clients. One's roofing, one could be an agency, one could be a dentist.
Doing a lot of IT stuff.
Yeah, and it's all over the place. Like, it's not, I'm walking into one client that's the same business, and we're like, hey, we're using these same methods for this thing. So we're learning with each client that we get. And so trying to balance the time between how much can I spend on this one? How much can I spend on this one? I mean, I've had clients say to me, well, don't go too big because then you won't be able to focus on us as much.
You've had somebody say that?
Oh, yeah. Which I get it, because that means I'm doing a good job. That means I'm giving them enough attention that they don't want that to change. So I have to tell them, don't worry about it. That's on me to figure out. But in the back of my mind,
you're lying.
I'm totally lying. No, I have to make sure that I can provide that level of service that I did from day one without getting so caught up in trying to grow my business that I lose. I start to, if you're growing because you want to grow, but you're losing because you can't maintain, then you're just kind of putting yourself in a circle that doesn't really get you anywhere. And
well, you're becoming detached from what got you that client or that business to begin with.
Yeah. And the whole point of our business is to come into small businesses that can use one resource for multiple different platforms. And I have to be able to make sure that we can maintain that. It's not like I'm just coming in and saying, hey, we're going to do your payroll and that's it. Like, we're going to come and do IT, payroll, accounting. So I have to be able to evaluate who my client's going to be, how much time that's going to take, and can I onboard them and do it the right way and maintain it the right way. And so there's really no answer to how do you balance a bigger client to a smaller client. On paper, yeah, one might be paying you more, but at the same time, they both want the same attention.
Right.
And so we've run into that. We've struggled with that at times where you put all this effort into one client, then the other one doesn't feel like they're getting the same attention. And it's a balancing act, and I don't know if that'll ever go away. It was like when we were at the station, right? Like, you knew you had some clients that were super needy, and you had other clients that they just kind of let you do your thing. And that's kind of what we run into. And,
Well, let me ask you this. So, because you kind of, the first tenet of this is great, of the 7 principles is great customer service.
Right.
You've seen this, and I want other people to understand. The smallest clients you have take the most amount of work, right?
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
You always want to fight that battle with the small guy. You want to get them there. The bigger people, they're already kind of established when they bring you on, so it's more, you're already getting on that train as it's moving.
Right. You're not building the tracks so they can move.
Right. And that is the hardest part. So the first thing is you have to decide what kind of service you're going to give that person. If you're not somebody that has a lot of patience, if you're not somebody that wants to go through the growing pains, don't take on small stuff.
Yeah. Well, and you can relate to this. You feel your clients' like struggles and pain, right? Especially with you doing marketing and for these people, there's an expectation that they need more clients. You need to produce those clients. And so even though you're running your own business and trying to pick up clients, you also feel like you're growing somebody else's business. Like, that's a part of you. And like, there's pressure.
Oh, you're definitely on the right. I mean, I got a text this morning that wasn't like in a panic, but it was, we're just not very busy this week. But they forget the 4 weeks leading up to it. Yeah. You were. But my job is almost, I've got to counsel you and just say, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to win every single day.
Right.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. But that's so cliche-ish that people are like, yeah, but what am I doing today? Or what am I going to do Friday? Like, I don't know. Like, you have to write it out. We're not busy 24 hours a day. There might be a gap of like 3 hours where no one will call us back. But at 8 o'clock, we've got to do something, right? That's the customer service angle where I have to treat everybody like they're family. But that's why you have to pick and choose who you're going to be with. Because if you're going to give your time to something, you better be all in. Mm-hmm. Didn't you say that before we even turned the microphones on? You had to be all in?
Yeah.
But you were talking about Mountain Dew versus Diet Mountain Dew, but it still applies.
I mean, they should just get rid of Diet Mountain Dew altogether, by the way.
I mean, I think it's important. I just thought you said something really meaningful, but it was about something that wasn't meaningful.
You got it. So, 30-second story. When I was in nursing school, I went to business school, then I went to nursing school, and I was out in Tennessee, and I sat down. There was like, I'm sitting in my first day of class, and I'm freaking out, and I look over at this lady that's sitting next to me, and I go, what am I doing here? Like, this is day one. And she goes, how bad do you want it? And I'm like, what? And she goes, how bad do you want it? And I go, how bad do I want what? She's like, why you're here? And I go, well, I moved all the way from Ohio to Tennessee to go to nursing school. I think I want it pretty bad. And she goes, then you'll make it. And I'll never forget that, because that's really what it comes down to. Like, how bad, like, just like when you left the station, how bad did you want to do your own thing? Enough to be doing it for how many years now?
8 now as of June.
Right.
like I said, I always remember it was Game 6 of the NBA Finals, and the Celtics lost to the Lakers.
Yes, they did, baby.
And I was a little bit toasty at a going away party, but I thought I never had a second thought about it.
Right.
But it's because I think part of it is, as you go along, you're learning aspects of a job that you have, and you go, but this doesn't make sense, or this isn't fair, or whatever. And I got tired of the answer being, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just go sell spots.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, if I'm already doing this, I can just find people to work with, but I can find my own people. Remember when you were a rep and you got stuck with somebody on your list that you're like, you couldn't get rid of them because they were a billing client and they were a bad person?
Oh, yeah.
Like, difficult to deal with?
choice.
Yeah, and it was like, it's yours. It got stuck with you, you're on it. We don't have to deal with people we don't want to deal with, right?
No, and to the customer service point, great customer service is something that separates you from some of these bigger companies.
Right.
As a smaller company, and I was just telling Ping, who was on our show last week, we were sitting there talking about some things that we're doing for her, and she looks at me and she goes, "What's your favorite thing about owning your own business?" And I go, I think I said this on the show last week. I go, I can provide the best customer service because I get to make all the decisions.
Right.
If my client needs something, my client needs to yell at me, my client, whatever it is, I have to take it and I have to fix it and I have to make them happy. But I can do that all on my terms. I don't have to go back to somebody else and be like, hey, how do I handle this? Am I allowed to tell them that?
Right. You didn't have to get approval.
Right.
Can you make a decision on this thing that I know is the right thing to do, but can you kick it up to corporate and see what they say?
Right. Yep. And this might come off a little arrogant, and I don't care, but
Totally.
one of my best attributes is my customer service. And that's why I was good at my previous job, because I listened to my clients. If I wasn't doing what I said I was going to do, then I took it and I fixed it. And I'm trying to help a client. I'm not there to tell them what to do. I'm there to listen. I'm there to provide a service to them that other people could provide. You and I are not anything. I mean, we're special people.
We are.
We're
snowflakes.
Awesome. We're snowflakes.
But not in the mean way that people say it now.
Yeah.
The original way. We're one of a kind.
That's going to be my next band name, Snowflakes.
Oh, absolutely. Well, don't play in any states in California or anything like that. They get very angry about that term.
do they?
Yeah, that New York.
Okay.
I think if you're in the Midwest, you're okay.
Oh, yeah, it sounds bad. Ohio accepts everything.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Snowflakes.
Yes.
No, you were talking about how you know that customer service is kind of like, that's your bailiwick. That's what you excel at.
That's right. And I think that's a big gap that's missed by people is they get so caught up in, hey, I got this client, but they're only a client as long as you serve them correctly.
Right.
And the customer service piece is everything. Because at the end of the day, a business owner is the decision maker. And if they're your client, they're your boss.
Right.
And you have to listen to them, and you have to take it, and you got to help them. And the only way you can do that is by providing good customer service. And the people that don't are the people that fail. And what's I think so infuriating was you see somebody with a really successful company that's terrible at those things, but are still making it by, but eventually it catches up to you.
I look at it completely opposite. If somebody's not paying attention to their customers or their core base, please continue not to do that.
Right.
Because at some point they're going to look around. You just want to be in the crowd, right? You just want somebody to turn and go, you know what, I'm not happy with this, but somebody's happy with it. This over here, I'll give it a try. That's all you're looking for. Because it's like any other relationship, whether it's a dating relationship, business. If you give everybody everything you've got and respect them and give them time, why would they leave?
They won't.
It's when you turn your back or you don't answer phone calls or texts or emails that they get tired of it, right?
Yeah.
They feel that trust and that bond is going away.
And speaking of phone calls, I feel like we live in an age where people are afraid to talk on the phone. Like, I see it more and more. It's all email.
You mean no matter what age? Oh, I think when someone wants to give you bad news, they cannot wait to
call
email you.
Oh, yeah, right. Well,
no, because I think people are we're avoiding that, and that is
we're avoiding confrontation.
Yeah, like I don't mind. I've always said I don't mind whatever anybody has to say about me personally or business or any of that, but just say it to me. What I can't stand is when they say it behind your back. If you disagree with something, that's fine. But somebody will send you a detailed email of all the things that they could have just verbalized. So what do? You email them back.
And then it becomes, then you're a keyboard
You're not
warrior.
doing anything. Yeah. I mean, I like to do that. I do that to you all the time. I'm like, I don't understand what you're doing.
I have blocked you, though. So.
Yeah, on Twitter.
MySpace.
I think we've covered the customer service angle.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is innovate easily. And part of that is, I think when people look at innovation, I think we would look at, Tesla's an innovation. MySpace,
MySpace.
or as Ping says, the Facebook.
The face.
Those are things people look at it like, what an innovation. Part of innovating is just changing what your current path is. So an example that we always bring up is, like, we do the show on Facebook Live. It doesn't cost us anything to do that, right? We're doing that in case someone doesn't hear it on the weekend. That's one innovation. One of the other things we do is our clients are involved in everything we're doing. So it's not, we're going to run commercials, we're going to do a show, any of that. Like, we're constantly around them. We're showing people we're around them. So if they have any question, we're constantly involved.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody has an idea, shoot it out, right? Because we're always willing to work with other people, but it's in this teamwork aspect. There's not a lot of innovation we can do outside of what we're doing now, but like, you're dealing with companies that are growing all the time. You're providing ideas for their next iteration of ideas.
Yeah, and I think that's the challenging part for us because, you know, we work with different businesses on different platforms and we try to implement similar systems that work for everybody. And anytime you try to innovate somebody else's company or try to help them see where things are going, people don't like change.
Don't you feel like they kind of drag their hand, like they don't want to go along with it because it wasn't their original concept?
Yeah, I think definitely some owners are like that. Others see where you're going with it, but when that change actually happens, they're like, this is change, I gotta learn something new. And you have to be able to manage both sides of that.
I feel like the easiest thing to do is you kind of just bring it up like, hey, I just had a random thought, right?
Yeah.
So, because what happens is if you keep bringing it up enough times, it gets adapted and the person's like, I had this idea a few months ago and I forgot to implement
You're
it.
like, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so part of innovating is sometimes just floating the idea out there and seeing what happens. That's not a bad way to do it, but again, the bigger the company is, and especially in corporate, they can't move. They're inflexible. So, for example, if you're on the ground floor, if you're a small company and you want to go after, I'm trying to think, name a company that's big.
Amazon.
Okay, all right, but perfect example. Amazon is putting small businesses out because in the beginning it was, I'll beat any price. I'll be lower. Even with shipping, I'll be in, right? So I'm going to put Barnes & Noble and Virgin mega stores and all that stuff out. So what does Amazon do? Now they want to build retail locations because they put their competitors out.
They wiped out the market, and now they're going to put themselves in the market.
Right. But one innovation would be, for example, we used to work with a supplement company, and I said, sell your stuff online. Because it's not like it was in the 80s and the 90s where people were walking in the door. You were a destination sometime during that week to get your supplementation. They refused to do it because they wanted to talk to people face to face. So you talk to your
business.
10 to 15 people. Right. Do you want to sell product or do you want to shake hands and kiss babies?
Right. Speaking of innovations, right along this topic, have you seen the Domino's commercial that came out, the hotspot?
Yes.
Which is such a crazy good idea.
Explain
so they have, I guess, 150 right now hotspots across the country. And you and I could be over, let's say, in Dublin, and we could be hanging out at a friend's house, and we're all like, we want Domino's. Well, Domino's is making pizzas, and then kind of floating a car out there like an Uber, and like an oven that they built within the to keep it warm. And so they could be down the street, you see the hotspot on your app, and they'll have a pizza right to your house. So they're taking the Uber approach of, you know, at any moment you can call an Uber to get food. Well, they're like, well, we'll just put cars out there that are floating around that you can check your area and get a pizza within 3 or 4 minutes.
Did you see the other thing they're doing where they're fixing potholes in certain towns and they're putting the Domino's logo on it?
Are they really?
Are
they allowed to do that?
You are allowed to, I think. I don't know that you can do it. Like, you couldn't go down the freeway here on 270 that's filled with, you know. But, listen, the freeway, State Farm bought the 270. So if you look at it, the freeway is sponsored by State Farm.
Because they do the roadside assistance.
Correct.
Yeah.
So...
that's one way to brand.
But that's an innovation, right?
Yeah.
Somebody else thought of that.
Yeah.
It is still marketing, though. Most innovations are marketing. Let's be for real.
Yeah. For real.
For real.
Yeah, but I just thought that was, like, that's a good example of a company that's already super successful that is thinking outside the box to try to compete with Uber and try to compete with some of these companies.
But okay, let's take the innovation step. So Uber was, we don't have any vehicles, right? People are going to be their own driver, their own kind of cabbie, whatever. Then it goes to Uber Eats where we'll deliver the food to your house. Now it's like deer hunting. The thing's got to be out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Get your phone out, and there's got to be one in your area.
And there always is. I've never not gotten an Uber, ever.
Right, but I'm saying now you can get one with pizza.
Oh, yeah,
you can get one with both. You know when you're like coming home from the bars after you've been studying really hard, and then you get in one that also has pizza.
That's a game
If somebody
changer.
from Domino's is listening, let me know if that's a thing, because I gotta know.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, Uber was a disruptor in that industry. Now, Giant Eagle, Kroger, they're doing shopping like on your phone, and then they deliver it to you because they're trying to compete.
Walmart has that thing.
Yeah.
If you give them a certain time, they'll go, and I think there's a small fee, but it's not much.
Right.
And then you can just pull up in the front, and they'll just
They'll
deliver it
load
to you.
your stuff up.
How lazy is that? I love that.
I know. Me too.
Like, I'm trying to figure out a way that I can get Walmart to just bring it to my house.
Everything. I want everything brought to my house.
I could get an Uber driver to go to Walmart. Walmart puts the stuff in there. Uber driver brings it to me.
Yeah.
Done deal, and I have
Yeah.
a pizza waiting for him.
That's right. I'm gonna
That
order
might be
one
a
on
Lyft
break.
product.
Yeah.
Lyft might get like some Little Caesars or something.
Which I love though. Hot and ready's.
But again, these are all innovations. This is
Mhm.
not something like somebody came up with. It's more just extending an original idea just a little bit further.
Well, have you ever thought about like? So when I first saw that Domino's commercial at the very beginning, I'm like, this would
I
never.
thought it was a gimmick.
I did too. I'm like, this will never work. And then I sat back and I thought about it. I'm like, actually, that's a great idea. Like, you're providing something that other people want, which is the Uber Eats concept, but you're doing it to sell more pizzas to be more convenient. And it can't be that big of an investment. You already have delivery cars in. I don't know. I it's just creative.
I was also thinking when I saw it, I thought the food waste, but it still can't be that much
Mm-hmm.
because it's not like you have 10 of them in the back. We're going way into this.
I know we really
Illuminati
I'm starved
pizza
right
story.
now.
I just, again, it was another innovation, but it's kind of the same way as, Instagram when that was purchased by, I almost said MySpace again, the Facebook.
The Facebook.
Do you know how many employees were working at Instagram when it was purchased by Facebook?
How many?
13.
That's crazy.
It was just, we're going to create this app, right? Everybody wanted to get in the app business until you realize there's probably already an app for that.
Yeah.
Right? There's an app for dating, there's an app for food, there's an app for a car in case you're...
Well, Instagram's a result of people getting annoyed with Facebook. Like, you get on there, it's just
right,
people
and then
writing
Facebook
posts.
goes, yeah, you should go over there.
Yeah, let me buy you.
Yeah. But again, if you're looking for an innovation for your business that you're not trying to sell off, like Instagram was looking to get purchased,
Mm-hmm.
if you run a restaurant or a law office or whatever it is, you have to find another angle, right? So, I mean, you covered 2 or 3 different ideas, but again, innovating doesn't mean putting thousands of dollars into something. It's just altering what you call something or altering the way that somebody can buy it.
Amazon started as a online bookstore. Then they became a retailer online. Then they got into the server space. Now they're the #1 server provider in the country and have serving hubs all over the country, probably even the world. And then now they're getting into healthcare. They're getting you can now get custom made clothes through their. So they started as a bookstore and look where they're at. It's
The amazing thing was, if you look at the quotes from when it started, everybody, all these investing people said, this will never make money. True. In its current iteration, when it started, no way are you going to make money selling books that are discounted. I don't know that anybody buys a book anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know where they really turn things around? The Kindle. It wasn't buying the book, it was
Right.
buying the Kindle, and then you had to buy the book
Books
to put
through
on
the-
the Kindle.
That's right. Well, Netflix started out as DVDs to your door.
Yeah.
You remember that? Like it
Have
was
you ever seen that story that Blockbuster they went to Blockbuster first?
and then
And Blockbuster said, I'll take this idea and I'll just do it cheaper. So it started at, originally it was like $19, then Blockbuster was like, we'll do it for $10, and then they both started to go down to where Blockbuster was doing it for like $4. But they were losing money just shipping it out. Because you had to ship it in a different kind of container. It wasn't just regular mail because you couldn't damage it.
right.
And then Netflix was like, you know what, let's not ship this at all.
Yeah. Let's
just do it
create a
streaming.
platform. Yeah, that's crazy.
So if anybody wants to create Netflix, let us know.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we will invest at least
$13.
Do you have that much on you?
I can write a check.
Okay.
Just wait till Friday.
Okay, let's not go into the next thing before we go on a break. Do you have anything more on innovation? I think we covered that, or pizza related.
I'm more worried about what's going on in the sports world right now.
Oh yeah. Can we get a quick before we go to break? Can we get a quick EA Sports report?
No.
All right. Rachel's still not feeling well, but I think all she was going to say was the
World
World Cup, and that was it. So still, the sports report brought to you by Lincoln Wallace.
Yep. Gay sports.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Oh,
By
by Rachel.
No, she's off.
The Rachel?
You're off the
Yeah.
microphone right now. We're not even bringing you in.
The Rachel.
Let's go ahead and go to break. I think that we covered two things plus the sports report. I feel really good.
Yeah.
You're listening to the 101 brought to you by Lincoln Wallace. You all right?
Yeah, I'm feeling okay now.
Okay.
Better.
Because you look white as a ghost,
Yeah, you do look a little white.
I do.
like especially in your face.
I feel okay.
You look fine.
You look better than
I
you
could
did.
die and Jim's like, you're fine.
No, eat pokey with a stick.
No, you always look
She's
fine.
good.
No, I'm actually like really not feeling good.
Call my friend at the Illuminati.
Okay, you don't look as fine as usual.
You look
Well, I mean,
fine.
I
You look
washed
like
my
you're
hair.
feeling.
You
You
found
look
this
like you're
one,
feeling a little bit poorly,
Yeah.
just a little bit. But the other day when you said, "Oh, I look terrible," last week and we took a picture with,
I look like
you know,
garbage.
and you said I look like garbage. No, you look
Oh,
fantastic.
Easily. Yes.
Friends of mine on Facebook
One
were
thing I
saying,
wanted to talk
"Who's
about
that
too
beautiful
like
woman? Is she a
finding a
model?"
customer, 'cause I feel
So
like
when you
so
think
many
you look
people
like crap,
create a business
so
now.
what do you know?
Thanks, Jim.
Sure. But you do look like you're feeling a bit poorly. Like maybe you need a
I couldn't
extra
see
couple
earlier.
hours of sleep.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep last night.
Hopefully you sleep well
And
tonight.
Okay, we're ready.
And
Jim.
270 is I didn't know was bought by State Farm. It's the Jack Nicklaus Freeway.
Well, I'm saying if you look on the side, they have that State Farm thing because they do the states.
They put up signs, yeah, the roadside
Yeah,
assistance.
roadside
yeah.
assistance.
And you'll
Yeah.
see the trucks
They
driving
put up
them,
signs.
up and down like the State Farm.
But it is officially the Jack Nicklaus Freeway.
Of course.
Who was in Batman, and he was the Joker.
That's right.
That's
He was
right.
the Joker
That's
in
right. And he's at a
1989.
lot of the Laker games.
And they
Yes.
played the Prince song.
Who's the guy that sits next to Jack Nicholson at the Lakers?
Isn't it his nephew?
Isn't it Diane Cannon?
Who's the guy?
Oh,
It's
the
a
guy.
younger kid,
Okay.
isn't it? I thought it was
Oh,
Prince.
it's Rick Fox. I don't know.
I do love
thought you
Rick
know.
Fox.
There's a guy that was
Yeah.
like one of these like old fogey like record producer dudes. That's the guy that's always sitting. His name's like Dr. Tom something.
Oh, really?
You never remember his last name, but he was like in the Mamas and the Papa's era type thing.
What happens when LeBron goes to the Lakers and we're battling with
Tom
Boston
Lehrer.
next year?
The Lair report.
No, I don't
How
know.
awesome would that be? Boston Celtics, Lakers
If
next year?
LeBron goes to the Lakers, first of all,
Hallelujah.
that would be amazing.
And Paul George.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cleveland would be Kevin Love and the Lovettes.
Yes.
And
I think
they would
LeBron's
be-
staying in Cleveland, and
Beloved.
somebody's coming to Cleveland.
I forget who they're trying to get.
Kawhi Leonard's coming to Cleveland.
They
They're
have
trying to
nothing
get
to give
Kawhi.
him.
Yeah,
They're trying to
I
get
know.
Kawhi Leonard, and they're trying to get somebody else.
Paul George.
Kimball Walker.
He's trying to. Oh, Kimball Walker. Yeah.
But not Carmelo Anthony.
We could
The
take
black
over
hole.
first take. Get Stephen A. Smith. And
Listen. If they,
Nash
if,
going out there.
if LeBron gets
Yelling and screaming,
Yeah.
"Don't be so
if
disrespectful!"
LeBron gets Paul George and Kimball Walker, you and I could start on that team, and they'd still win
That's
60
true.
games.
That's true.
And mainly because I'm gonna do the scoring, and you play a little defense.
I got you.
You're all of 170 pounds, maybe.
172. But
You
Yeah,
could be
wasn't I
Stephen A.
invited?
and he'll
you're the cheerleader.
he'll be
First of all,
Stephen
you're
A. You'll be
dying.
Max Kellerman,
There we
Second
go.
of all,
I like that.
and I'll be Skip Bayless.
There we go.
Go
I want
Cowboys!
to be Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp. Yeah.
All right.
I'd rather listen to FS1 with my boy Chris Carter.
I'd rather put a
CC?
drill in my ear.
Yeah, CC. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome back to the 101, brought to you by Lincoln Wallace, Madison Gillespie, co-host
I'm still here.
extraordinaire. We were talking about 7 ways small business can compete with big business, and you had something that you wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
Well, let me say, you told me where you wanted to go with this because I should have added. There should have been 8.
You should have. You really
Because,
messed
well,
this
don't
up.
chastise me while we just came back from break. Like, wait until we're kind of into
We're already
the thing.
fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of, and I struggled with this too. A lot of people start a business and they're like, I want everybody. I just want business. But finding the client that actually fits what you're doing is really important too.
But
and
give an
finding-
example of what you mean by that, because I know where you're going with that I want everyone, and how many times do you have to tell someone that makes absolutely no sense?
Well, an example would be somebody that maybe specializes in, like, has 10 different things that they do, but there's one thing that they like doing more, but that might be 5% of what their actual customer base is. So it can't be based off what you just like doing. There has to be a balance to everything that you're doing. And you can't just say, and you can't just open it up. Like, there's certain people, there's certain industries that I wouldn't get into, and I know that, and I already vetted that before I got into what I'm doing. That's not really something that does that make sense?
On that a little bit. Here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
For example, we work with a dentist who is amazing at doing implants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that market might only be 3% of the total Columbus market.
Right.
So you can hammer and hammer and hammer with that message.
Right.
But once if you don't get response right away, that's okay because it's such a niche area.
Mm-hmm.
Versus where you take somebody like Myers Jeweler with Jeff. Jeff's thing is, at some point you're going to get married. If you're lucky, you're going to get divorced and then get married again. So that's 2 sales for him. But in general, he's selling necklaces, watches, rings, all that, right?
Yeah.
He's doing more than one thing. If we only focused on bridal, a consumer only sees a product as one thing. Have I ever done this thing to you?
Mm-mm.
What's the first thing you think of when I say the post office? Or postal service?
Stamps.
Stamps, okay. What do you think of when I say FedEx?
Next day.
Okay. Perfect example is this. If I tell you that the post office works with FedEx, your mind is going to say that doesn't make sense, they're competitors.
Right.
FedEx, the postal service delivers the stuff to FedEx, like in Memphis, there's a hub. They work together on these things. FedEx doesn't have offices that you go in like a post office, right?
Right, they don't, yeah.
But because the post office marketed themselves one way and said, if you need a stamp, here's a letter, blah, blah, blah. There are 9 other things that the post office does, including registering you to vote. I mean, they do everything else, and FedEx does one thing, but FedEx does one thing better than anybody else.
Yep.
They took one thing, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is if you get stuck where you want everything, people don't understand what you truly do.
That's exactly right.
If you do one thing and you do it better than anybody else, you'll dominate.
Well, that's been a struggle with our business. So, like, what exactly do you do? You know, because we have multiple different platforms that we do. Now, we've created a system that works because of our business plan that took us a couple years to build out. But you can definitely go down that path where you're almost like watering down what you do, and then some people don't even know fully what you do. Because, you know, to your point, like when I'm not thinking of.
Are you ever worried you're going to say the wrong thing? Like someone's going to say, "Oh, what do you do?" And you say, "Well, we do tax prep," and then that's all they think you do. Like they will discredit the next thing you say because you can only be good at one thing.
That's exactly right. I normally start like this. So like, so what do you do? And I'm like, let me explain. Yeah. You know, because it is a little bit complicated. But I also start off with, we're an all-encompassing back office solutions company. And then that at least triggers their mind, like, okay, what does that mean? And then, for sure, I've had current clients ask me, well, how can you do all of that? Or, well, would I just be stuck with you with everything? What if we have a bad relationship? You know, so right. There's things that come up where I have to go back and think and have an answer for what that looks like.
It makes sense. I'm just saying that is the thing that most people get stuck
Absolutely.
on. They want everybody. You do not want everybody. Number one, if you're in a business that is medical, you want people with insurance.
Right.
Okay. If you're in a business that is a restaurant or a jewelry, you need them to have expendable income.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To get everybody means just everybody come here and we'll figure it out when you get here.
Yep.
You want the best of the best to come to your business because, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, if you get 0.5% of people just in Columbus, let's say, to come in, you can't handle them. If they all came at the same time, you could not handle them.
Right.
If they came in the same week, you still couldn't handle them. That's the thing people have to look at is you need business to repeat, but you need it to kind of be fanned out so it's not coming in all at the same time.
Yep.
When people say I want everyone, that's where I go. You don't even know where you started.
Yep.
Like you didn't finalize where you want to go.
Well, and that's why I preferenced before we start talking about this. Like, there's certain clients I wouldn't take because I already know that.
Can you name them?
Yes, Morris Media.
I would never take that business.
Yeah, so
shows.
you can get, but at the other thing, you probably have a client right now that you're like, if I could get 20 more of these are my perfect client, right? If I could just get 20 more of those, I'd be set. And I have some like that too. Like they fit well, personality wise. You're helping them, and you're not one of them, obviously.
I'm not hurt because technically you're a client of ours, so it doesn't bother me. You're not hurting my feelings.
Good point. Yeah, I think we've beat this horse, I think.
I think we have. We've murdered this. But
Yeah.
it's key because now we can move into the next one, which is improve efficiency. The best way to improve efficiency, you can speak more to that on back end things. But if you know your original goal, like who your customer is, right? And you give those people great customer service, you're already ahead of the game. I work for it, but that's at least 80%.
I rarely do.
Yes. And then, so efficiency. You can speak more to efficiency and how to run a business because you've gone in when it's already rolling, and now you've got to fix it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And everybody's different for us. I mean, some people's efficiency levels, if you've had a business that's been around for a long time, they have certain systems in place. Trying to come in and show them how to be more efficient is not always easy.
So when you go in, I can't imagine what fighting with you really is like.
Yeah. Well, I've been in that situation, that even in the business I am now, where I wouldn't say fighting, but just some
Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I don't
No,
know.
but I know
fighting. It is. We've all been in that situation where you're trying to guide someone, and it's not their idea, or it's not where they think they want to go, and it's almost you're kind of cross that line where you're kind of stepping on their toes.
Well, yeah, and that's when it comes in all about like reading people, listening to people, understanding. I might present an idea for somebody, but if they don't want to do that, that's fine. We'll do it their way, but eventually it'll probably come back around.
Okay, but do you establish right off the bat? Here's exactly how we combat that. Here's what we've done. We've mapped it out. We will do it your way.
Yeah.
But just know that we're going to come back to this plan that I presented on this date. We're all going to remember this.
Mm-hmm.
That this is what we put research into. If we go on your whim or your feeling, that's okay. But if it doesn't work, I don't want you to come back and say, where did we go wrong?
Right.
Because I'm going to keep this and I'm going to say, this is where we went wrong. No research, no background. And it's not to pick on anybody because let's hope you're right. But I'm going to take 20 years of doing it versus your idea you came up with because you didn't like my idea.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And that goes all the way back to our first point, right? The customer service piece, understanding what they want. And sometimes you have to let them go with what they're doing.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I'm coming in to work with clients to help them, to improve efficiencies. I'm not there to try to change their whole business. I'm not there to try to tell them what to do. I'm trying to work with them. And I think sometimes anytime you implement change for somebody, it's challenging for both parties. But if the common goal is to help them, just like for you, you can sit there and tell somebody till they're blue in the face. You need 6 solid months, at least, very minimum. Like, you need 6 months of advertising, of being out there, of building up that reputation in the market. And I mean, I know you've had that conversation how many times? Just
Today?
Yeah, right.
About 9 before I got here at noon.
But it's a process, and I've failed at communicating that sometimes. Like, oh yeah, we can do this, this, and this. It's gonna be great. But I didn't tell them what could happen.
Right.
Like, it's still all gonna be okay, but this could come up. You could, like for you could have a month where you're really slow on calls. That happens.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's the end of the world.
Well, I also think sometimes people, like, I'm not good with dates. I'm always good. I will never miss an appointment. I will be late by maybe a couple minutes, and I still feel bad about that. But I will miss holidays. I can't remember what it was, because we work on Sundays. I was sitting downstairs for an hour waiting on Rachel to show up to work on a holiday. Because I didn't
even
know.
think about it.
I didn't think of the date.
Was it
But
Christmas?
Yeah, it was Christmas. I cried, but I was wearing a cat sweater. No, what I'm saying is, when that kind of thing happens, I forget. Like, for instance, 4th of July is coming up, so people are going on vacation. People are kind of like taking it low, and the last thing you want to do before a break is go to a doctor's office or dental. You know what I mean? I'm not taking that into account because to me, every day is April 9th. And
Yes.
like people should be buying things and doing things, right?
I just did that the other day. I'm gonna go out and see my brother-in-law and sister out in Denver, and I'm like, well, I got work that day, and they're like, it's like a holiday, and I'm like, Oh, yeah, that's true. Where before I'd be like, hey, I can't wait till next week. I'm
Yeah.
off 2 days.
Yeah, when you were working at the station, I bet you were just like, listen, I'm going on vacation in 3 months, so I got to get ready for it today.
That's it. I would have my away message already pre-planned out.
Just put it on at 3 o'clock. Madison, your away's on. I know, but I don't
Just
feel
in
it.
case.
On vacation mode.
That's right. Vacation mode.
How is your sister? She was a previous guest on the show.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah,
she's got her new box launch in October that she's been working on.
And it's called You Glow Girl.
You Glow Girl.
Yeah, and she got that name because that was your nickname in high school.
It was when I was on cheer team.
I thought that was a brilliant name. And in fact, did she talk about that, or is she coming back to talk about?
I think
the launch
she's
of
going to
that?
come back.
Well, we're going to be busy then too.
Yes.
But yeah, that
I think she said she was going to email you. Has she emailed you? We should call her out right now.
No,
Jen,
well-
email Mike.
Jen, if you're watching, please don't email. Did you ever see the original email she sent me?
Oh, yeah.
Before, so she's
Her
coming here from
thesis?
Denver. Yeah, and I read like the first, I don't know, 7 to 8 chapters, and I thought this show's only an hour long. Like
She had a hard copy she brought.
but then she revised it, and I just like print, delete, never look at it again. And when she came in, I just said, I didn't read over any of those, and she looked panicked, and I just said, Jim, let's get going.
She's an organizer. She has everything written down, planned out. I wish I was more that way in some regard, but yeah, she comes prepared.
Yeah.
You were a little shock and awe with that one.
Yes, and I paid a lot of attention to that. I want to actually, her situation kind of delves into our next topic that we're running into a break, but I want people to know what we're going to talk about after the break is connecting with your audience, and that's where we really catch fire, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In Flago.
And actually, You Glow Girl is a perfect example of something that we talked about here locally that Jen is launching.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and go to break because I don't want to get into this topic and cut us off. But we'll be right back. You're listening to the 101 brought to you by Lincoln Wallace. Sorry, Jim, I could not get into
Oh, yeah,
anything
no
with
problem.
that. It was just a weird spot. What do we got? About
You could, and whenever I give you the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you can go an extra minute or
I
two
know,
if you
but-
want. That doesn't matter.
I realized we were.
But you didn't want to get on a roll with the next topic and then realize, oh shoot, we're like 10 minutes over
This is
to where we have
perfect
to.
one to get into. I just don't want to cut it short. What do we have?
I was going to grab the mic and say, okay, she just texted me. She'll be here on the next holiday.
I think she is. I think she did say she was coming back, right?
Yeah, she did.
Yep.
I thought-
She'll come
Yeah.
back and
So yeah, she
She
wants
will,
to talk to you because she's doing this launch in October,
Right.
and she'd like to talk about some stuff. We just talked about you on Monday. And she's like, I'm going to email. I said, get an email going. I go, Mike won't read it, and then we can.
Mike won't read it.
If you email him, I'll text him to read it.
There you go.
No,
Yeah.
I saw something.
She'll get you on
online.
Instagram
I saw her
or the Facebook.
video. Her video stuff looks
Oh, yeah.
really good.
Dude, she's doing some cool stuff.
Well, yeah, she's kind
Well,
of
she's got a really good videographer out there that does.
Sojo.
Yeah, yes, he flies out every day. It's
You
really
mean, does it
expensive.
fly out on Mondays?
Yes, comes back on Sundays.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah, every week.
Kajojo.
If Kojo's watching, hi Kojo.
What's up, Kojo?
Hello, Kajojo. All right, so let's get into connect with your audience. Jim, we are not going to take another break, right? We're going to go straight through.
Oh, yeah.
How many minutes do we have?
You got about 13, 14 minutes left.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, so you
I
got
think we
plenty
could,
of
we could get
time.
through all these.
I'll tell you. Well, you know where we can make up time is the niche market part because we kind of discussed that. So
Yeah.
I guess they'll say it, but we went through it. Okay, Jimmy, let's rock and roll.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome back to the 101 brought to you by Lincoln Wallace. Still sitting here with me, Madison G. Gillespie.
I tried to get out of here.
Yeah, you can't because
I
then
can't
I'd just be
talk.
talking to myself.
Yeah.
You know, I did.
Which would be entertaining.
I
It'd be
did
funny.
do this show by myself, sort of, one time. Rachel, before we started, right before we're going to go on air, goes, I don't want to do this. And I said, you don't want to do Facebook Live? She said, no, I don't want to do the show at all. So she sat here, and for 26 minutes, I would talk, and then when I needed to get a drink, I'd go, right? And she would go, yep, take a drink, boom, right back to it. I felt like I was giving the
It's
worst
kind of like
lecture
watching the
ever.
Will Kane show. Do you ever watch that? Where he just
Okay.
he's on ESPN, but he has no host, so he just literally
Oh,
talks for
yeah,
hours. It's impressive.
I think I could do that. I just don't know that I could talk about any topic. I'd have to just keep going on.
You'd get into wrestling.
I don't know
kinds
why
of
you're
stuff.
saying that like that's a negative.
No, wrestling.
We should
that the
totally
call?
wrestling is real.
Yeah.
So let's get into number 4 here. We're talking about the 7 ways small business can compete with big business. This is the biggest one in my opinion right now of all the things you can do outside of picking the right customer is connect with your audience.
How do you connect with your audience?
We don't. No, I'm just kidding. Connecting with our audience, again, is we are using every social media platform. We are not paying for it. Again, this is not paying for it. We are creating our own content. One is the example of we do this radio show, and we bring clients on, whether they're our clients, your clients, or people we haven't met.
Yep.
Because we want to hear from them. Because hearing their stories, we're going to learn so much more.
Yep.
Okay? So that's just the show part, which I don't know anybody else that's doing that at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're doing it on Facebook Live, so that's the second piece. When we're done with this show on Facebook Live and doing it here, it goes on YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel that all the shows are on, and I know people are just pouring through that material,
I can
loving
barely,
it.
I don't even watch anymore because there's so many commercials.
I know. Well, we're selling it. We're selling out. But so you've got those three pieces, right? Now we take it to Instagram. We put a minute-long clip or however long is going on.
By the way, Instagram is launching an hour-long.
I saw that.
Which is pretty
so
cool.
I tested that yesterday with 2 minute-long videos. I'm going to tell you, the one person that clicked on it is loving it.
Oh, it's obsessed.
And I think it's counting me as the one. But it's new. So, like, The Rock is beating me by several million.
You'll get
But
it.
I just got on there.
Yeah, you
I
just
got on
started.
So you got Instagram, so that's your fifth piece.
Yep.
I take that same piece of content and put it on LinkedIn. That's 6 different pieces, or 6 different connections for one piece of content.
Yep.
Right? So if we end up going to a client's place, we'll take pictures that we're walking in the building. Just here's what we're doing. I want to take the approach of I'm going to share every single thing that we're doing, so that somebody might see it and want to go to a restaurant we went to just because we popped in there, or a coffee shop or whatever. My thing is, how can we stimulate growth for every single person? But also, we're trying to do this. We're giving this away. You should be doing the same thing. Here's your playbook.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, it's not. When we do the show, unfortunately, we have to show our faces. But I don't, when I'm doing the other shows, I don't introduce myself over and over again. It is not about us.
Right.
It is about giving our clients a way to talk to somebody. You can run all the commercials you want, but if we ran a bunch of Lincoln Wallace commercials, they wouldn't know who you are and what you believe.
That's right.
And I think the connection that somebody's going to make through you, hearing you talk and seeing you, is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, that's what's made social media so powerful.
But it's, the thing is, I feel like social media is very powerful, but it's being used the wrong way.
It is. Well, it's the Insta fame, Insta this,
Yes.
Insta that.
It's the buying followers and buying the post and enhancing the post. One of the things I've noticed is that in the beginning, I would post things. I didn't believe in LinkedIn whatsoever. But I realized you have to build this network, right? So whether it's commercials or it's word of mouth, whatever it is, that's all I'm trying to do is build that network. So I want people to copy what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people think I'm doing it to brag. I'm not. I want somebody to copy our hormone replacement clinic in California. Build it out there, but here's the playbook. I don't want to get paid on it. I just want to show people how to use the tools.
Well, that's why this show was started, was to connect our audience, to bring people in, right?
Right.
I mean, that's exactly why we did it. I'm not on. How many times do we come on here and promote our own businesses?
You do it every hour.
Yeah, it's true. Well, when it says brought to you by.
Well, that's why we have to say brought to you by, because if I don't, here's another thing I love. You, Dr. Ping, all the people who want to help other people don't want to say your name or what you do. So I have to sit here and drag it out of you, but that's the best part is you're doing this not for the glory, but for what you can do for somebody else. Mm-hmm. And that's the point.
Well, I want my work with what I do with clients to be a big resource for me, that they promote me. I mean, Ping's done such a great job of, we've come in and helped her with some things, and now she's like, hey, I want to help your business by introducing you to this person.
But that's for you,
that's right?
So you're going to talk to somebody that's launching these new dental offices.
Yep.
And they're going to speak your name.
Right.
That's all building an audience really is. I think when people hear that term, they think people have to like your stuff or they share it.
I don't care how many likes I get. I don't.
I never like your stuff.
Well, you like it, and I'm like, oh, Mike, and then you unlike it, and it's gone.
Then I put frowny face. No, but again, it's not about how many people. The people little clicky on the emoji. That doesn't matter. It is how many people are looking at it and then down the road become your customer.
And how long does it stick with them?
Right.
Because like this show was started, and then I started people like, hey, what's your radio show about? And then it wasn't the fact that I just did it one time. It was the fact that we do every week.
Right.
We have new people we've never met before. They get to promote their brand. And it just kind of catches on a little bit because you're consistent with it. And even though we might get 100 views, it doesn't matter. We're not in it for that. We're in it to promote people.
It does grow after a while, but I think it's my favorite part is when we bring somebody in, like Jen, your sister, who came out all the way from Denver to do this show and
The
gave
state
us
of
all,
Denver.
the state of Denver,
Right.
yes. When she gave me all those notes, and right before we started, I said, I didn't read any of this. Jim, you ready? And we just went. And her face, the
It's like-
shock on her face was amazing.
Yes.
Because she thought I had prepared this whole thing. And I'm
No.
like, no.
Mm-mm.
But it worked out, right?
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and
it's
again,
great.
she got to get her message out in a conversational way, not I want to hit points A, B, and C.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
But
People relate to that.
and then we were able to get out of here and talk about the same 6 methods I just talked about, how to grow your individual brand that costs nothing. And she's implementing those.
Mhm.
Like I see them all the time, and I'm trying to put her on mute because Jen, I get the point. I'm
Yeah,
not going to buy those
stop
boxes.
it. Yeah.
Somebody else will, but it's not for me. But that building or connecting with your audience again, everything you're doing, not you, just you personally, but you are your brand. You have to let people know who you are and what you believe.
Mhm.
And part of that is being proud enough to show them, whether it's pictures, video, audio, whatever it is, show them who you are.
Yep. Even if when we first started doing this, it's not super comfortable to come on the radio and talk about topics that I don't know until 5 minutes before.
I'd never give you 5 minutes.
Wait, that's true. It's normally 30 seconds. But at the same time, I'm doing it, it might have been uncomfortable at first, but we're doing it to help other people come on and promote themselves and talk about themselves. Then we get to meet them, and we get to help them. And we talk about co-creating a lot. Like your clients and my clients, we have some that are similar, and we're a group, we're a team. Like
Right.
we're all talking, we're all helping each other. There's times that I'll talk to Ping about marketing stuff, but it's not because I'm like, well, I can do that. It's because I want to help you. You
Right.
want to help me. You've helped, vice versa. And I think you build that network and you give people a platform to come on. It just, I think it's cool.
I think we hammered the audience part, but you just said, when you said building, the next part to this, the fifth part, was building your reputation. What do you think that means?
I don't think it's just business. Like Lincoln Wallace is not my reputation. Like I'm my reputation. And if I have one business where I'm selling media and the next business I'm selling accounting and IT, and I have clients for one and the other, that's my reputation because they know I'm going to do good work for them.
Right.
And so I think sometimes people think that your product is your reputation, but it's not, because other people can do the same thing that I'm doing.
It's kind of good that you didn't get stuck in that. We used to work in businesses where there are people who will talk about that company they work for. Like in our life, it was entertainment. We were selling entertainment. So when you're doing that, you are talking about that specific station. You better hope that never flips or you lose your morning show guy or whatever, because all that stuff, that wasn't about you.
No.
That was about this thing,
Mhm.
right? If that thing changes at all, the whole time you have to be talking about yourself and what you can do and what you will do.
Well, anybody's replaceable when you work for another company. You're replaceable when you own your own business. And having a reputation that when you come in and it's consistent and you do what you say you're going to do, that's more important than marketing. That's more important than anything else that you do. Because if your reputation, that spreads.
Right. What is the saying? If you do something good, one person will tell like a couple other people. If you do something poorly, they'll tell 10 people.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you're infuriated and it's more fun to gossip.
You know what? That's funny that we were talking about that. I called somebody, or I called 3 people yesterday because something happened that it had nothing to do with us. But I was so mad about it. I said, this guy did it. Here's what happened. I gave them the whole story as though, number one, that they cared, but number 2, they could do anything about it. I just had to tell that story because I was
felt
hot.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
fired up.
No. I'm not letting this go, and everyone's going to hear about it. But yet, I think somebody did something really nice for me yesterday, and I didn't even I might not even thank them.
Told anybody.
Yeah, well, if they would have texted me, I would have.
God, what's going on in your twisted mind?
I got a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Germany got eliminated from the World Cup.
I know.
I mean, I think that's what you told
Is that
me.
why you were crying when I walked in?
I was, because I thought, why is the World Cup on TV? There's got to be something better than this.
It's true.
EA Sports.
Yes.
Argentina won.
Argentina won,
Ooh.
which...
Is that Messi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Golfing.
Thanks, yeah.
Listen, don't go off on a path, DJ. I need you for the last minute.
Yep.
Jim's got something.
Let's reel this
And
in.
real quick, Messi became the first guy to score a World Cup goal in his teens, in his 20s, and his 30s.
Wow.
Yay sports.
Yay
Yeah, there it is.
Brought to you by Lincoln Wallace. We
We
got
don't
one
even
in.
need Rachel.
She just lost her gig.
Yeah, she's up on that roof still.
So in the last couple of minutes, the last two here tap into niche markets, which we kind of talked about that.
Yep.
You addressed that in finding the customer, the goal for that customer, and who you want. We got that. The last part I'd like to end on is attract the best employees. You've had to work your sister's in the HR for
Mm-hmm.
that company, but you've had to do that. I mean, what makes it possible to find the best people for your situation? I'm going to tell you what I think.
Yeah.
I think it still goes back to defining who your best customer is. I think it goes to defining who's the best at dealing with the customer you want.
Yep. That's a good way to look at it.
I should write that down.
You should. You should write a book. Just
Well, I'm in the Illuminati.
That's
but,
true.
but I want you to
Can you forward me
answer.
that email?
I'm not,
in.
I got to get in first.
Okay.
But I want your opinion because, again, you're going into businesses and making them more efficient. But you also have to, part of that efficiency is getting rid of bad employees or making sure you don't lose the great ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, never would I want to tell a business owner, hey, you should fire somebody. But sometimes you get in situations where people are hard to work with. And, we have an employee that works with us. And when we hired her, I knew that she was going to be awesome with my clients. You can just tell. And she's done such a good job for me that I look back on it and I'm like, I haven't had to run into a bad employee for my business, but I can imagine how detrimental that would be if you don't have somebody that connects to your clients, right? Like you have Rachel, who's awesome.
Terrible.
Awesome as a person, but good with your client. Or is it the opposite?
She's really good with the client.
Okay, either way.
Yeah.
She's bad at one of the two.
Yeah. Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
She's really good with the clients. We'll put it that way.
There we go. So I haven't been in a situation where I've had a lot of employees and to say that I've worked with a lot, and you can definitely tell the good from the bad and the people that actually want to help the business grow, who they're working for.
Right.
But man, that's tough. I mean, I talked to my brother-in-law quite a bit about some of his sales guys. He's got 10 sales guys, and he's telling me how, he wants them to do this and make this many calls and this, and this. And he goes, I asked him for 4 hours of phone calls. They gave me 2. Why? And I go, they just don't want it. They don't want it bad enough. And then you get in situations where you have to get rid of people because they're not doing what they said they're going to do. That's its own headache. And then for me working with other people where you see that within businesses, the employees, if you motivate them enough, and this is me looking at other companies, you see the good ones, you see the bad ones, and most of the time it comes down to the employees really respect the person they're working for. And they know that they have their best interests in mind. It gets to be a little... It doesn't seem to be the case when somebody doesn't respect the owner.
Right.
And I don't think Rachel respects you, but she likes working with you.
Nor should anyone. And that's a good place to end for the week. Thank you, Madison,
Yes.
for that last jab in the rib.
But you agree? I mean, I think...
I totally agree, but we're starting a whole other show, and we've got to wrap one up.
Great.
I mean, but we get to do this again. We're going to be off for the holiday, so please listen to the rerun.
Yeah.
We're probably not supposed to say that, but they're going to love that rerun.
Oh, it's going to be great.
I think it's going to be
We'll pick
just
the best
another one where we're just rambling.
Yeah, it's just like today.
Well, thank you for listening to The Ramble, brought to you by Lincoln Wallace. We will see you in a couple weeks.
Enjoy your 4th of July, viewers out there in Facebook land.